At the recent Bakers Fair exhibition at Kempton Park Racecourse, Melissa Morgan, aka Miss Cupcake, wowed the crowd with her vegan take on a Victoria sponge cake.
And the moon began to rise.
My name is Melissa Morgan. My business is called Miss Cupcake, and so that's what everyone calls me too, so you can call me Hey Cupcake, whatever you like. What we're going to be doing today is I'm going to try and take away some of the myths, some of the worries, some of the questions about how the heck do you bake a cake without eggs and dairy. You're going to be boggled by how darn simple it is. So what I thought I would do is I would talk a little bit about what types of things we use as substitutions, why you might want to or be asked to make a cake without those things in it. And as we do it, I'm going to give you the most simple gosh darn recipe you ever come across to make a Victoria sponge cake, which you can make into cupcakes, you can make pretty much into anything else. And I'll also talk about how to turn it into a chocolate cake, a banana cake, a carrot cake, a coffee cake, pretty much any type of cake you may want. So, I'm going to go back over here. I believe there's a something going on over there. That'll come up in a second. But let me just talk to you a little bit about the genesis of my business and why I make the cakes the way that I do. That is me. Look, it does work. I love technology. I started my business in April 2010 as a tiny little home business. And what I was doing before was nothing to do with the food industry. I never worked in the bakery industry. I was a primary school teacher. And what I was doing was I was making cakes that I like to eat. And what I like to eat, well, as you may tell, are very indulgent, decadent, over-the-top, fun, celebration-style cakes. And I couldn't find what I needed, which were cakes that were free of eggs, free of dairy, free of milk, free of butter, free of any type of animal product, because I choose to keep a diet like that. But what I have noticed is there are loads of people out there, whether it's because of allergies or due to religious reasons, cannot have animal products as well. So because of that, I thought, I might be able to make a go at this. And then, well, things kind of exploded. Starting selling at Greenwich Market in East London a few days a week. It kept growing and growing. I had to take on staff. I was working 18 hours a day, 7 days a week for my tiny little 2-bedroom flat. God bless my family for putting up with me. And exactly 1 year to the day of my first market stall, I opened London's first entirely vegan bakery in Brixton in South London. That was a really exciting year, and after we had sort of opened, things really started to kick off, and I now have a team of 9 who work for me, and we're open 7 days a week. As Martin said, I was absolutely gobsmacked to win that award. And additionally, our cookbook is being commissioned by Random House, who's being published internationally next spring. And we are currently filming a television series about what we do. So we'll be on your screen very soon. So let's get on to the more exciting bit, which is the baking. All right, tell me, when you think of vegan cakes, what do you think? Tasteless, dry, dense, flaky, good for the dog, good for no one. Is this what we're thinking? Right? Right, okay. Well, I'm going to dispel all those myths with 6 simple ingredients. Okay, here's the thing. I keep thinking when my cookbook comes out, the game is over. Everyone's going to realize how dead simple everything is. Because I didn't have time. I was working 18 hours a day. I was going to the market stall, being there all day, having to come home at 7 o'clock at night and bake until 1 in the morning for the next day, and then and I needed to make shortcuts. So, number 1, I won't use ingredients unless you can find them down Tesco's, down Sainsbury's, your local supermarket. I'm not going to put any funny things in your cakes, because unless you know what's in there, you're not going to want to eat it, and your customers won't either. So that was step number 1. I would take these cookbooks that I'd see about vegan, gluten-free baking, all this kind of stuff, and they were naming ingredients I couldn't find, let alone even pronounce. And I thought, well, I don't want to put that in my cake or in my body, so forget about that. So here we go, moving on. Simple, regular ingredients with a little bit of changes in how you might do it produce beautiful, moist, fluffy cakes. Let's start her off. Number 1, what do we need in the cake? We need some flour. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a 2-layer Victoria sponge cake. This 2-layer Victoria sponge cake is in a, I think these are 9-inch, I'd guess. Anyone? 9-inch maybe? 10? maybe? 10, okay. I'm going to take it from the men in the middle there, the 10-inch. Doesn't matter, you can use 8, 9, 10-inch pens, no problem whatsoever. I've got loose bottom ones because I like things keeping it simple, my lovelies. So I've got loose bottom, you don't need no loose bottoms. You're going to take, you can do 2 balls if you want perfect layers. So 200 in one, 200 in another. But who's going to care? Let's just do it the easy way. What we're going to do is I'm going to take 400 grams of self-rising flour. Look at my girls at the shop, they pre-measured it for me, they know what I'm like, forgetting the weigh-in scales. So we've got about 400 grams in there. Now, say to me, Miss Cupcake, I can't do no gluten, no wheat. That's all right, substitute it. You know, Dove's Farm Organic, they do an amazing self-rising blend flour. That'll do in a pinch. Same, absolute same amounts, 400 grams of that. Taking that, my lovelies, you need to add some sweet goodness. How about some sugar, right? Okay. So I'm going to put in, let's say about 240 grams of caster sugar. Now, you may have heard online, read on a book, or heard through the grapevine that sugar isn't actually vegetarian or vegan. Anyone heard that nonsense before? To be honest, it's not nonsense. So you're saying, Miss Cupcake, why you be putting it in your cake? Well, I'll tell you this. Here's what I heard. I heard that sugar was refined using bone char, which is dead animal bones. So I did a bit of research, contacted all the sugar companies in this country, and I will tell you that about 60% of sugar in North America, not vegetarian, not vegan, it does use animals in the process. In the UK, in the EU, I am happy to say 100% animal free. So God bless the sugar companies in our country. So I like using a nice refined caster sugar, beautiful small grain. You can use granulated, you can use a nice caramelized one if you want to pop in some Millingtons, or perhaps you go, Miss Cupcake, I don't want no refined sugar. All right, what else can we use? You use agave syrup, brilliant item. Similar in consistency to honey, if you've not seen it before. And it actually comes from a cactus plant, same part of the cactus that you will find tequila, but it's not alcoholic. So you can use agave syrup, although it has a higher burn rate, so you want to bake it at a lower temperature. Oh, I forgot to preheat the oven. Should we preheat the oven? Yes? About 185? Everyone, ding! Okay, so we're preheating the oven to 185. And so what we're going to do now is I'm going to add some raising agents. You could use agave, as I said before, but you could use date syrup, maple syrup, golden syrups, artificial sweeteners. There's a thing on the market called stevia right now as well. Experiment till you get what you like. It is hard to mess up this cake recipe, my friends. I tell you that. I get the little in doing it. I get my husband who don't know nothing about no bacon doing it. Everyone can make this cake. So when I was baking these cakes at 11 o'clock at night to sell the next day down the market, I was taking all the shortcuts I could, and I found a product called Fry Light, which is great at making sure that cake does not stick to the bottom. Who's had a cake stick to the bottom of the pan before? How devastating is that? And you're just like, no, because you know you've wasted ingredients. Got to do it again. So I'm going to spray ridiculously liberally. The reason I use this product is because I'm a vegan cake company, and this product, they've gone to the hassle and the expense to get approved by the Vegan Society and their locals on there. So I know it's going to be 100% safe for my allergy customers who come to me because they cannot have certain things in their diets. So liberally spray your pans. You know that we've already put the oven on, right? It's a preheating in there. Make sure you got another thermometer on the inside, because you don't want to, you know, it actually be lying to you on the outside. I have greased my pans. I've preheated my oven. I've mixed my 3 plain ingredients. Now is the time to start working fast. I'm going to take my soy milk, or rice milk if you want. You know, if you're going to use the rice milk, it actually is going to create a bit more holes into the cake, like little, you're going to see more spotty holes. I have to go in this way, guys. That's fine, and it won't rise as high if it's a gluten-free one. Just thought I'd mention that quickly. So what I'm going to take is I'm going to take 400 mils of your plant-based milk. Now, tell me, my lovelies, if you insist on using cow's milk, it's like for like in terms of amounts as well, okay? So I've got 400 mils of that, and for those of you riding, I'm going to take 160 mils of my light rapeseed oil as well. Okay. Gotta go quick here, gotta go quick. So in we go, 400 of that, and I bet my measured this, so I'm going to just double check. They did indeed. Okay, so about 160 in there as well. Now, we all need a bit of vanilla in our lives, so let's be liberal because it is our only flavor into that cake. A lot of vanilla extract, essence, pods, I don't care what you want to do, obviously. The more expensive the ingredient, the better the cake is going to taste. And then you start to mix. And you see me there, my loves. Don't go too fast at the first, but you've got to do this by hand. All you want to do is you want to combine it. You do not want to overmix. So go as quickly as you can without splashing it in your face. And it doesn't matter there's still lumps and bumps there. Stop mixing. Just stop. When you think it's not mixed enough, you need to stop. And all of a sudden you're going to see things start popping up, okay? You don't want those bubbles, my loves. Those bubbles are the baking powder already starting to work. We want it to work in the oven, not out here. Pop them out. Pop them out like that, because you've got no eggs. You've got nothing to help with the rising and the binding. You need to trust that your simple ingredients are what's going to save you. Make sure those bubbles are gone. Then you're going to split the cake mixture, because I don't want to do the washing up, into 2 pans evenly. As I said, if you do 200 grams of flour, 120 of sugar, and you can have perfectly measured out ones, I'm going to eyeball it and put lots of icing into the middle to not have to worry about compensating. And then once we've got a beautiful cakes all scraped out and in there, that is it. You're going to get it into our oven. Again, bubbles are starting to pop, pop, and into the oven they go. Luckily, I prepared one earlier. Alright, so that's what's going to happen there. They're going to bake for 20 minutes at 185 degrees. They're going to rise beautifully, they're going to dough slightly and create the most moist and simple and beautiful vegan cake sponge you'll ever come across. Okay, as I said, I did make one earlier. So, I've got a simple cake board. You could, of course, just use a plate if you're doing this at home with your friends. Look at me dripping all over your tablecloth here, my loves. I'm so sorry to the baker. I didn't say I was a clean demonstrator. Alright, so what we've got here is a very simple buttercream. Can you see that? You can see that because I've got a camera. Yes? Simple vanilla butter. Wait, hang on a second, Miss Cupcake. You say buttercream. Butter, you can't use butter. Alright, so I confess it's not real 100% buttercream. Instead, we use vegetable-based alternatives. Here's a very simple recipe. Again, ingredients you can get down Tesco. So you're going to use about, let's say, 500 grams of icing sugar. I'm going to check, because we do everything in massive quantities. So this is for this cake. 500 grams of icing sugar, about 100 grams of a vegetable-based fat. Now, the reason I don't specify exactly what that means and where that means is because you need to decide what you can get at your local shop, and then that's what you can use. I'll tell you what I use. There's a brand called Pure. You probably have seen it in the butter aisle. They do a sunflower version, they do a soy version. It's got absolutely no dairy in it, so lactose intolerant people who are allergic, they can eat that no problem. About 50 grams of that, and 50 grams of a white, clear vegetable fat like Trex. There's other ones, but Trex is my go-to. And put those together as your 100 grams of fat. Of course, I'm going to use tons of vanilla. First thing you're going to do is take the fats, cream it together in an electric mixer, handheld if you don't have a KitchenAid or what you have yet, and you're going to add your vanilla. Once that is all creamed together, you're going to slowly start adding in your icing sugar. You're going to need a bit of plant-based milk to get things grooving and moving together. So what I suggest you use is about between 30 and 50 mils of soy milk, rice milk, almond milk, whatever kind of milk you want to use. And what that's going to end up creating is a beautiful texture of a gorgeous tasting buttercream. Alright? Now, of course, you can flavor it any which way you want. You can color it any which way you want. But we're going to keep things nice and simple here and to do a nice, simple Victoria sponge. And here's something I figured out, again, making the old shortcut late at night. When I was trying to ice my cake, sometimes I would just slide into one side and slide into the other side. And I was like, am I tired or what's going on? So I actually put a bit of icing right there. Nothing like a bit of glue on the bottom. Holds the cake in place, my loves, okay? So I'm going to take these sponges that I pre-made. Do you want a super duper trick? I wasn't going to tell this until the book came out, but should I tell you now? Yeah, go on, I'll tell you. When your cake comes out of the oven, they're rising in there, but we'll get there in a second. When it comes out of the oven, what happens to the top of your cake? A bit crusty, right? Same with your cupcakes. You've got that sort of nice caramelized kind of crust at the top of it. I don't want no crusty cake. I'm sorry, no, I'm not interested in that. So what I do, I cool it for about 10 minutes in the pan, well really until your hands can touch, okay? I got crazy baker hand, I can go straight in there, but until it's comfortable, leave it in the pan on a cooling area, cooling rack. Keep it on the cooling rack outside of the oven. When you can, take it out of the pan. We can't do the taking out now, I'm afraid. When you do the taking out of the pan, continue to cool it on the cooling racks until it's completely room temperature. Once it's room temperature, if you can wait, and trust me, the waiting is worth it, if you can wait, put it into an airtight container, each of your layers, okay? Close her up and leave for at least a couple of hours in there. What you're going to end up with is a beautiful, soft, gorgeous, all the way through sponge, which has got no crusty bit on the top. So if you're not going to ice the sides of your cake, it won't be the crusty bits on the side that the customer's going to see. They're going to have a beautiful, soft side all the way around. So what I've got here is one layer. You may get the occasional crack or things like that. Don't worry about it. It's all part of the beautiful flavor here. Now, traditional Victoria sponge, go on, someone shout it out to me. Cake, jam, cake, icing sugar. Boom. I don't do things traditionally here at Miss Cupcake, so you're going to get my version, my lovelies. Start me off with a whole mess of cream. Now, I know, if I was a professionally trained baker, I'd tell you about doing a crumb layer and all that kind of stuff. But I am a cutting the corners, making gorgeous cake, didn't know the traditional way, invented my own way kind of baker. So this is how I do it. I put so much cream on, I can see your teeth going, oh, right now, I can see it, I can see it. I put so much on there, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread it all out, and then I'm going to take it off. I'm being careful not to pick up any of the crumbs along the way, because then who wants a crummy looking cake? The worst is, of course, if you've got chocolate cake, vanilla icing, oh my gosh. Then I call it cookies and cream and everyone's happy, right? Okay, so what I'm doing here is I am pushing that cream across, and you go, well, that's not so bad. But actually, if you taste my cream, it'd be sweet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start scraping some of it away. Be careful not to actually go right against the cake, because then that's when you're going to pick your crumbs up. I know I shouldn't worry about it because I'm going to stick another cake on the middle, but you put on as much as you like. We do over 150 different flavors of cupcakes, which we rotate every day. So that is our primary product. But we do cookies and tray bakes and layer cakes and birthday cakes and humminut cakes and every cake you can imagine, and savories as well. And so there's nothing more beautiful in a shop or cafe as having beautiful cakes sold by the slice. And this is a piece there. And so what we started doing was, when I first opened, well, let's go traditional. Victoria sponge, coffee walnut, you know, and that kind of thing. But I tell you, it was our version of Victoria sponge that we couldn't keep on the shelf. So, although it may be simple, it's certainly a crowd pleaser.